Welcome to the WRAL Daily Download. I'm Grace Holland. Police are searching for a convicted murderer who left the Alamance County Courthouse before his sentencing. Litego Marshall's trial happened late last week, and we've been getting answers about how he was able to leave during a murder trial. WRAL's Shaun Gallegher has been talking to investigators. Shaun, thanks for being here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's start with this. Obviously, he's out there at this point that we are talking on Tuesday evening. So what does Marshall look like, and where do detectives think he may be now?
Yeah, so detectives think that Litego Marshall has ties to Burlington and Greensboro. So that's a little bit farther west than our typical viewing area in Alamance County and Guilford County. But he also did have an arrest in 2023 in Durham for drug charges. So really, he could be anywhere. So that's why police sent out information, including a mugshot, which people can check out on our website. But this is a man who is 47 years old, 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighs about 210 pounds, according to police. And he does have multiple tattoos on his arms and his chest. I don't know what the tattoos on his arms are, but police say he has kind of a shortened version of his name tattooed on his chest. Tego, that's Tego, a tattoo on his chest. So yeah, that's he should be somewhere in our area after leaving the courthouse late last week.
Yeah, okay, definitely someone that everyone will want to keep an eye out for, and I'm sure law enforcement want them to let them know if they hear about it. So why was Marshall on trial for murder? What was going on in that case?
Yeah, so if we go all the way back to 2017, there are court records that show there was what police are saying a drug deal gone wrong in Burlington, and they believe that Litego Marshall was involved in that. He got picked up about a month later in January of 2018, and he was in jail for a few years, according to online records. And then in 2021, it starts to get a little weird, I would say. There was some sort of bond hearing where a judge set a bond, and Marshall was able to meet it, and he was released. So between 2021 and until basically up until Friday, he was a free man and not in police custody, out on bail with a charge of murder and robbery against him.
Right. And given that he was out on bail, it makes a little bit more sense how he was able to leave the courthouse. But what do we know about the sequence of events that actually played out during that trial and when exactly he left?
Yeah, so from what I understand, the trial was underway last week. You know, they have to go through all of the proceedings there, picking a jury, testimonies, different defense and prosecutorial actions there. And then it sounds like during a lunch break on Friday, he up and left and did not come back. And remember, somebody like him, he is considered innocent until proven guilty. He was able to post a bond. So he was a free man, essentially, and he was able to get lunch basically every day last week if he wanted to. But this time, he didn't come back, and the trial went on without him, and the jury ultimately did find him guilty. So he is now a convicted murderer who is on the run.
Let's take a quick break right there, and we'll be right back. Shaun, before the break, you were walking us through the kind of bizarre series of events that put us in this situation with a now convicted murderer on the loose and police looking for him. What have you found out in the course of your reporting about Marshall's criminal record? You mentioned some charges in Durham.
Yeah, so I started making a spreadsheet, and honestly, Grace, I could still be making that spreadsheet. He has a very long criminal history, a number of drug charges, a lot of, things more than just simple possessions, things like, cocaine dealing and large amounts that he had plenty of charges for. There were assaults that were in there, other violent crimes as well. He even had a different murder charge that he was charged with in the early 2000s. That case ultimately dismissed, but it's this one that came up in 2017 where he was arrested for this murder that's the most interesting. He was released in 2021 under that bond that we're still unsure what the details are. But then 2 years later in Durham, he gets picked up again, and it's for serious cocaine charges. But the case here, at least what we can read online, judge actually issued a $100,000 bond for those charges in Durham. Don't know how, but he was able to post that bond as well. That's why he was free and able to go to this trial and still walk free amongst all the people here in Alamance County.
Right, and it really is staggering when you think about the fact that even though he made that $100,000 bond, $100,000 bond for drug charges and this murder charge bond down to zero. Have you gotten any kind of insight from experts or law enforcement officials about what that could be about? Any kind of inkling?
Yeah, so we're still trying to figure out exactly what type of bond he received here in Alamance County. According to the online records, it says $0, which I talked to a law professor from NC Central, and he said that's highly unusual, that for any sort of violent crimes, especially somebody with a history, there would be something tied to that, if not no bond at all, meaning that he would have to remain behind bars. But I was talking to the Burlington Police assistant chief here. He said, and he was kind of iffy on this, that the district attorney noted there may have been a $500,000 bond that was issued for Marshall. But I have called the DA's office. I've called the judge multiple times today trying to get some sort of answer about this. And I'm being ghosted. Nobody's getting back to me about this. And this is a serious issue because there are always a lot of questions around bond and the use of bond. People might forget bond is not supposed to be treated as a penalty. It's supposed to ensure that someone will show up. And now in this case, there's somebody who left and they're not coming back.
Right. And in your conversations with the assistant police chief there in Burlington, I mean, what are they saying or feeling about this situation? Obviously, the part of what plays out in court is not necessarily their jurisdiction. They handle everything up to that. And then, of course, now that they're looking for him, they're I would think, leading that search. So what is their perspective on all of this? What do they want people to know?
Yeah, well, they want people to call them immediately, first of all, if they do see Marshall out and about. But I did have a big question about this because, you know, this inherently is going to be a lot more dangerous for police. They've got a guy out there who's got nothing to lose now. He is somebody who is convicted of murder, first-degree murder, and likely will face a sentence once he is caught for the rest of his life behind bars. So their job is going to be a lot harder for this. Now, the one thing that I can tell people that may make them feel a little bit better is Burlington Police don't believe that Marshall is, you know, an inherent threat right now, not an immediate threat, but they do believe that he is out there. He clearly has a violent history. So it's not somebody you want to try to approach on your own or anything like that, but call police if you do see them and take down, you know, copious notes. Where was it? What was he wearing? What kind of car was he in? Any details that you can give will help them try to, you know, come to a conclusion that is the safest for everybody involved. That's law enforcement. That's, you know, the citizens wherever he may be. And ultimately, they want Marshall to be safe as well because they want the justice system to come through so that the victims' families can have some sort of solace knowing that he's behind bars paying for what he did.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Shaun. We'll be following this closely. And thank you for listening to the WRAL Daily Download. Another great way to get WRAL news is the Morning Briefing newsletter. That's a daily email with triangled news, events, and headlines to help you get ready for the day. Sign up at WRAL.com/newsletter.